Okay, this next tutorial we're going to be looking at creating multiple enemies. Now, I guess one easy way you could do it is just click around in our room and just click 4 or 5 planes, but we want more and more planes to come as the game goes along, so it actually gets more challenging and is more difficult. The way we do that is we're going to be doing something we haven't done yet, and we're going to be creating ourselves a new object. This new object is going to be unlike any object we've done yet, but as I've said previously, you will be using this hopefully in your games to make certain things happen. Now, what it is it's an object that's not going to have a sprite. Now, so far, every object we've done has been based on a picture. This one is actually not going to have a sprite. So it's still going to have events, it's still going to have action, so certain things are going to happen, but there's not going to be a picture. You'll see as we go along. It might be a bit confusing now, but hopefully it makes sense. So what we want to do is I want you to type in controller underscore enemy. And once you do that, what we're saying is that whatever this object is, it's going to help control our enemy. You need to add an event, which is the create event, and I want you to create instance of object enemy 1. So we drag the light bulb across. We've used this one before, and the object we want to create is our enemy, so our object enemy. And we want to create it just like we've done before. When it goes to the top of the screen, random open brackets room underscore width close brackets minus 16. And so what we're doing is we're saying at the very start, for our enemies, we want them to start at that point in the room, and we just tick OK. The next thing we want to do is set an alarm, kind of like we did with our bullet. So you need to go into main 2, into timing, set an alarm clock. Remember, we've already used alarm number 0. So we just pick ourselves a new alarm, and we go alarm 1, and the number of steps is 200. This is roughly about 5 or 6 seconds. And the next thing we want to do is we need to create an event for that alarm. So you go into alarm 1, and what we're going to do just to make it easier, save us typing it out again, is we're going to click on this and then hold down the shift key and click, and control C or right click for copy, and then go into alarm 1 and right click or control V for paste. Now what we've said is that at the very start we want to create an instance of our enemy, so our plane that's going to move down the screen, and then we've set our alarm 1 to 200, which is 5 to 6 seconds roughly. After 5 to 6 seconds we want something else to happen. We want a new enemy to come, but in this step we want to change this slightly. We want to set it to a number of steps of 500, and so we still keep it in alarm number 1. So what we're saying is we create one enemy to start with. At 200 steps later, which is like 5 or 6 seconds, we want this to happen. In 5 or 6 seconds we create a new enemy, random room width, so left to right we don't mind as long as it moves down the screen, and then it resets our alarm 1 back to 500, so it starts it over again. Once it gets back to 0, starts the alarm again, sends another enemy out. So click OK. The next thing we need to do is obviously put that code, the bit of controller enemy coding we wrote, and put it into our room. So we open up our room, but before we put it in, we need to take out our enemy plane, because at the moment we've only got one enemy. We then left click on the objects, and as you can see you can choose all the different objects, but when you click controller enemy there's no picture. But when we click it in, you can see there's a question mark there. Now at the bottom of the screen it tells you, just down here, have a look when I click near the question mark or hold my mouse over it, it says object controller enemy. And so this little question mark shows us that there's no image for the object, but it still performs a function. There's still computer programming code that tells us that things are happening. You then click the green tick and press play. Hopefully your game will look something like this. Now I don't want you to shoot or score points, but just move around and watch to see if the enemy planes keep coming. Now, as you can see, every 5 seconds or so, a new plane will be added. So at the moment, there's 2. And then 7 or 8 seconds later, another plane should be added in. As you can see, there's now 3 on the screen. Another 8 seconds later, 7 or 8, for 500 steps, we'll have 4. And that's how the challenge increases. Now, as you can see, I can start shooting them, but they're all going to still keep reappearing. So this is how we make a basic game. So if you've done this so far, well done. You've finished this tutorial. Maybe have a play, see how high you can get your score, but watch what happens when we collide with them. At the moment, nothing is happening, so there's no real challenge because we can't die. So in the next tutorial, we're going to set it up so that if we accidentally run into the planes, that they explode. So save your game and move on to the next one.